blue and red test decks. They're both very, very simple. We're
Okay.
actually, for our next playtest, going to put in a couple more cards, a few more cards to make it a bit more interesting for people that have already played.
Hmm.
But for now, we have red and blue, and they're pretty basic. Which one do you prefer?
Does either of them have undead or no? Just curious.
No, not
Okay.
yet.
No big deal.
Not
I'll
yet.
try the red because typically, if it's anything like Magic, I don't know if you guys based anything off your game off them at all, but
Well, I mean, there's certainly inspiration, but
right.
you're going to notice that it is very different in terms of the way that the game
Okay.
plays and
I'll try
everything.
both
But
decks either way. I'll just try
you
red
can.
first.
So if you want to try red first, that's the Horde. I'll take Sharky. In other words, I will create a game and just pop in when you're ready.
Is yours the Soul Still Burns?
That's the one.
All right. So the Horde. All right. Join. Again, guys, this is all going to get changed. I just like to reiterate for people who might be joining in late. This is just our very basic alpha engine right now. So
Yeah.
here we go.
So I mean, we're kind of in the game in what we'd like to term setup phase. So in front of you, you'll see kind of the game board. It's the 9x2 grid. You're going to be playing on the bottom. I'm obviously on my screen playing on the bottom as well, but you
Yes.
kind of appear up top. And what we're going to do now is essentially play out 3 fields and 3 strongholds, is what we call them. Now, the best way for you to kind of just leaf through your hand, which is on the bottom there, is click first on the inspector, which is that button on the right,
Mm-hmm.
and then if you select a card, it'll kind of pop up. You'll see it a little bit closer up, but basically you get all the details up in the inspector.
Right.
Um,
Right now, my current most left card is called a Castle.
yeah,
It's a Stronghold card.
Mhm.
Your castle is your deck of cards. All your creatures automatically emerge from it. When attacked directly by an opposing creature, one card is removed from your castle and put in your graveyard. If you lose all the cards in your castle, you lose the game. All right.
Exactly. So there are 3 of these targets, and I'm actually going to start placing my first field card. So I place the waterfront, and then we'll kind of talk through what's going on over here. In order to place your 3 strongholds, you actually have to first place a field down first, right? So in your case, a forest, and then directly on top of the field, you're going to place one of the strongholds.
Okay.
Now, you're going to ask me, like, oh, does it matter where I'm putting down this field card? It does matter, but first let me tell you how to place it. So I'll jump a little bit to how the UI works at the moment. You have this bar in the lower center of your screen, and there's a big orb in the middle.
Right.
That is representative of cards in your hand that you're able to play. So if you click through it or right-click anywhere on the game board, you'll cycle through these icons.
Mm-hmm.
So just kind of cycle through until you get a forest,
Play Forest.
play forest, and then
Okay.
you just click anywhere on the board.
Now, my question would be real quick in case people like to. I'm sure they, in case they're watching this video again. So placing the forest, I can obviously play it. Do any of the 9 squares matter? Is there like an advantage to say play on the left versus the right?
I was gonna in terms of strategy, it definitely matters. You probably need to take into account, what kind of mobility does my deck have. So creatures in your deck are pretty mobile. They have 3 movement points typically. So you can spread yourself out quite a bit and still not be too badly off. I wouldn't place them more than like 2 spaces apart, like
Okay.
or enough to get like with 3 movement points from one place to the other. But you can cover quite a bit of the board that way. The other thing to take into account is where am I placing my structures, because ultimately, you're going to be trying to threaten the structures that I place. I'm going to be
Right.
trying to threaten the structures that you place. So, am I playing very close in, very tight? Am I playing very spread out? Am I playing in the corner? You'll see as I start placing my cards down that, you'll have to think about different things. What does it mean? What's he placing where?
So just again, more things for people to use. Let's say I place a forest on the far left. That's probably not the most ideal spot for my deck, right?
It does. It could be. It could be good. It depends how you want to play it. I mean,
Right.
your deck. I'll just say that it's when you get to kind of the mid game of your deck, you're going to be needing a lot of income, and so your bank is an important structure for you. If I take out your bank, it's going to be hard for you to win. So you might say, oh well, he placed his waterfront kind of on the corner. Maybe I want to place one of my fields on the other corner, and then put my bank over there, and it'll be kind of safe for now.
Ah.
You know what I mean?
But there's nothing like strategic about like the far far left versus the far far right, other than
No,
when you're
no,
playing.
not
That's what
not,
I'm
not
trying.
necessarily.
Okay.
Just all that matters is where are you in relation to your opponent. That's about it.
I'll roger that.
And
Okay.
can you do you have access to your opponent or not? That kind of a thing.
I'll try this for now.
So I'm actually gonna kind of maybe. So you'll notice I placed my graveyard down, which should tell you already that you don't actually have to place all the fields at once. You can place all the fields at once and then place all the structures, or you can place a field and then a structure, or you can do whatever you want, really,
Mm.
as long as you're placing a before you place a structure. So by placing the graveyard, I'm basically withholding some information from you, which is where am I going to place my next field.
Right. Well,
Uh,
yeah, because you're. I also get like the graveyard is because the decks are cycle based, which for the
exactly.
viewers it might be a little hard to understand initially, but like as you play your deck comes back to life via the graveyard. Is what I kind of gathered.
Right. So I'll just go through really quickly what all the three structures do. So you mentioned the castle is your draw deck. That's for anyone that plays card games. That's fairly familiar. You draw cards from it. That's what it enables you to do. If it gets destroyed, and let's remember that's the point of the game is to destroy your opponent's three structures. If it gets destroyed, you can't draw cards anymore. So it looks like it's my turn.
Yeah,
And
I
so
figured I'd
then,
play them first, and this is my logic, maybe because I'm new and I don't really understand it. Um, I place my three because then I'll have a three income, so I'll have a lot of income when I start playing my cards. Is what
well,
I figured.
we're all three of us are gonna, or all three of us, both of us are gonna play three fields and three structures. So our income and our everything is gonna be equal at the end of the setup phase. Because
Okay.
again, we're just we have the same cards. We have three field cards and three structures, and we're just placing them. That's what's going on here. So.
Hmm.
So the second structure is the second stronghold, I should call it, is the bank. So the bank is basically your resource pool. It essentially allows you to store income from one turn to the next. So if I have three income at the beginning of the game, which is what we're both going to have, the turn after that, the three income that I generated the first turn will be added to the three income that I have from my fields, and I'll have six, and then I'll be able to get nine, etc., etc. If at any time I have my bank destroyed, I can no longer store chroma, that's our resource, from one turn to the next, if that makes sense.
Yeah, again, I read a little bit about the chroma. I would have to like burn a card, which I think removes it from play permanently.
That's well, we'll kind of get into what you can
Okay.
do in terms of during your turn, and actually drawing, discarding, and burning are three actions that you can take as a player that you can do at any time. So it starts off as my turn. What I can do is, and you'll notice that once we've placed all of the fields and all of the three strongholds, the game actually starts. So it starts by by default, you'll draw two cards from your deck. You will put three cards into your discard pile. Then that happens randomly. So your graveyard, you'll notice, has three cards in it. We mentioned before that we kind of talked about the castle. That's your deck. We talked about the bank. That's your resource pool. The third one is your graveyard. That's your discard pile. And the function of your graveyard is that it will take one card from it and cycle it back into your deck,
Hmm.
shuffling it into your deck every turn. So it's an important mechanic because the decks are very small. They're 24 cards total. So actually, if I look at your deck, your castle, you have 13 cards. I have 13 cards. You can see that by mousing over my castle at the moment.
Yeah, it's cutting off a little bit because of the avatar thing. But
Because of the avatar. Yeah, yeah. Again, this is the UI is,
yeah, I
is
know.
subject to
It's very
change.
early, guys. It's gonna
Right.
it'll
But
probably let you move the avatar like in most phones, how they like slide to the left, slide to the right. You pull them
yeah,
in and
well, I
out.
mean, just the entire UI is going to be overhauled. This is just it's directionally where we want to go, but I mean, very
Right.
much not yet, at all final.
It's still very. I like it. Though. I mean, like I'm. It's very stable thus far. Like it's not
Yeah,
being too
yeah, yeah.
much.
No, it's the engine and the mechanics are certainly in there. So So that's what the graveyard does, and as you might imagine, I mean, different decks with different strategies will rely on these three structures in different ways.
Hmm.
So, maybe if you have large creature deck, you really need your bank, for example. And if I can figure that out early, I can threaten your bank consistently and maybe shut you down. So that's what I'm trying to do. So I drew a card. There's nothing that I can play. So actually, I'm going to draw another card. Now I can do that because well, drawing is an instant action on my part, and I can do it as many times as I can afford it. So after my first draw, my second draw is costing 1, and then it costs 2, 4, 8, etc.
Doubles.
So
Okay.
I actually had a really bad draw. So I'm not going to keep drawing, but I'll pass it over to you. I clicked end turn. So it looks like you drew 1. Remember, in the inspector, you can check. You can click on one of the cards in your hand. You can check how much it costs, and I don't know if you have a. You don't have to tell me what you have in your hand, obviously. But if you do click a creature card,
Hmm.
you'll see the number in the brackets is how much it costs. The plus 0 or -2 or whatever it might be is how much upkeep, and then you can see a bunch of stats about
So if
attacking.
it's -2, that means I have -2 upkeep, or does it mean just?
It means that, yeah, you have to pay
Oh,
upkeep.
okay, okay, okay,
If it's, I mean, some creatures have plus, right? So they generate income for you.
okay.
Yeah.
So my question is like this. I'll tell you what I got. I got a forest,
All right. You should definitely play the forest.
so that would give me like more income, correct?
Exactly.
All right, 1 second.
So you want to basically again cycle through your little icon there in the lower center until you hit the forest icon, and then you play it just like you did in the setup phase.
Now another question is, do I need to say have a forest down by my castle to move my creature onto it?
Well, your creature will be summoned to any one of your 3 strongholds,
Okay.
and it can move. Actually, your creatures in your deck can move even inside these blank spaces.
Okay.
Except if you stay on one of the blank spaces at the end of your turn, it'll take damage.
Okay.
My creatures, which because I have a lot of sharks in my deck, they actually can only play on waterfronts. So I can't actually move into this void space at all, which is a disadvantage that obviously you don't have. All right, so oh man, looks like you're going to be pressuring me very early. It's good.
So
You
there
had
is
a- you had
summoning
a good hand.
sickness, right? Like in most games. Like
There is a kind of summoning sickness, but you can move. Importantly, movement is an instant action, so you can actually move even during my turn. But you summon this guy right now. You can, if you click on him, then you again cycle through the actions there in the lower center, that icon. You'll be able to see you just move them over. And now he's in position, obviously, to threaten my graveyard, which is not good for me.
So currently, I'm just trying to figure this out. I have nothing left, so I would just pass my turn, right? At this point.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, you can safely pass your turn.
What about the whole burning? Can we explain that a little bit more?
Well, burning is essentially an expensive transaction for you. You basically select a card that's in your hand, and then you click burn, and what that will do is it'll generate 1 chroma, but the card will be removed from the game permanently. So you might ask, well, why the hell would I do that? I mean, it's so expensive. It's such a big trade-off. Well, if I'm attacking your bank and there's nothing in your bank, no chroma, like right now, you just summon this guy, you have 0 chroma.
Right.
So if I was able to threaten your bank right now, then you might say, oh man, well, I need to burn a card, generate 1 chroma instantly, and then I can save my bank, because I'll hit it for 1 chroma, but it won't actually be destroyed.
Right.
If at any time your bank has nothing in it, or your discard pile has nothing in it, or your castle has nothing in it, and it gets attacked, it gets destroyed.
Okay. Okie day. Alright, so I will just pass my turn. I'm going to talk to some of you real quick. Someone's asking what I'm doing. Right now, I am playing an early alpha game called Chromancer. And I have a dev on the Skype with me. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and type them out. It's a card game mostly. I feel like it's very tactical. It's got like a whole board game feel to it. 'Cause you get, play lands, but you're playing also on the land. So, so far, did I not pass my turn properly?
Yeah, no, you did. I'm just
Okay.
thinking about what I want to do. So
making
I
sure.
think I'm going to do that and actually bring bring this guy over here. So you'll notice that I just summoned a shark. Um, and
Pretty
actually,
big shark. Max